Before you go and leave your seat, your prospecting station, to go spend an hour there, hour back, what are you going to do? What's your process before you determine, am I going to go preview this FSBO? Am I going to go on this appointment, or I'm not going on this appointment? What does that look like for Kevin Mills?
Yeah, so my schedule's changed a lot. So I would say that I'm a lot more intentional now than when I first started. Like if I was not desperate, but if I really needed some business, I wanted to really build up my business and I didn't have appointments this afternoon, I would set my entire afternoon, 3 days a week at least, and jam-pack it with every for sale by owner in town that I could get in there to the door of. And then I would go into like MapQuest or something, and I would figure out the best route to knock out all 4 of them, and I would schedule my appointments in that row to be the most effective that I can, and I would go on as many previews as I can. I would get in as many doors as I can, try to start building those relationships. Out of those, and listen, I would disqualify some of them. If it was just somebody who's putting it out there, wanting an unrealistic price, they have no motivation, and they're going to be a jerk, don't go. You don't have to work with those kinds of people. But most of the people that you talk to that are for sale by owner aren't going to be like that. Most of them are going to want to save money. They think they can do it by themselves. But what they're going to realize is they don't have the systems and processes and exposure that you have. And you just have to ease them into that conversation. You got to ask them questions while you're walking around and previewing the property. And then hopefully by the end of you previewing, you're able to sit them down at a table and just slowly start going through the process of what it would look like if they decided at some point down the road to go with you.
I love it.
But I'll go on all of them.
So half the people are on that system. The other half are asking me, well, now, Brandon, I'm getting a little bit busier. How do you determine that today with your schedule? How are you determining?
I pre-qualify everybody I talk. Everybody before I leave my desk, I pre-qualify. And I still get, let me just tell you something, take up a little bit of time. I went on an appointment this morning that I called at 10 a.m. and it was an 11 o'clock appointment, like 20 minutes down the road. I show up today at 11 o'clock and he told me that he signed paperwork with the guy at 10:30.
Wow.
Didn't even call me. I still get the BS, and you're going to get that. But guess what I did? I took it out of my head and I threw it away. And I'll never think about that guy ever again or the situation. I'm completely detached. That sucks, but I'm completely detached. And that's with a really good pre-qual. So I pre-qualify every single person I talk to. It's, hey, thanks for your time earlier today. Just making sure we're still good today at 2 o'clock. Does that still work for you?
Yes, it does.
Right, now, when I come over, are all the decision makers going to be present? Are you the only owner? Is anybody else who owns the property going to be there?
Yeah, it's just going to be me. Just me.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So when I come over, it's just going to be you handling it. One thing I like to do, and I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, I really want to walk the home through the eyes of a buyer. So when I get there, I really want to take a look throughout the entire property. Is it prepared for showing? Like if you had somebody called you right now and they were ready to see the property, are you guys prepared to show the house?
Yeah, I think it would be in that. Yeah, for sure.
Side note, the reason I'm asking that is to see when they're looking to really get started putting this on. But if they're like, no, man, we wouldn't be able to show this thing for 2 weeks. All right, now you know this guy's 2 weeks out from doing anything with any buyer, which could be a pro, could be a con once you get some further information. So it's like, great. After we see that, one thing I like to do is sit you down, just share with you some things I'm doing behind the exposure of these properties to help my clients get you the most amount of money. Now, I'm not coming there begging you to sign a contract or putting pen to paper immediately, but what I like to do is show you some approaches I'm taking. Maybe they make sense for you. Maybe you want to embrace some of these ideas on yourself. But at the end of the day, I think you're going to get a lot of value after that, and then you can see what I'm doing, what I'm offering to my clients to help get them the most amount of money. And they usually say, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah, Kevin, but we're probably still going to do for sale by owner for a little bit. Yeah, I understand. But again, if I could show you where I could put more money in your pocket, you'd probably entertain at least the thought of putting it on the market. You don't care whether I sell it or you sell it as long as you get the same amount of money or more in your pocket, right? It's just using those lines, man, and you'll get the answers from them. They'll give you the answers, and then you sit down at the table, man, and you just make it a very easy, smooth conversation. And just trying to build a relationship.
Yep, I love it. It's real non-threatening. It's like, hey, let's look at this. If it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, so very cool. Now, you had said something to me off air yesterday because we're in a for sale by owner training program. You've got a for sale by owner system that you had talked to me about. Do we have time to go through that real quick?
Yeah, for sure. Let me load it up on my end because I have it here and I just haven't gotten it done. I think the first thing is committing yourself to this system. So you got to do your math behind it first. So you got to say, all right, am I willing to go on all these previews? Am I willing to be excited for every preview? Am I willing to do a lot of follow-up after I go on these previews? Am I willing to play the long-term game with these people to get this business? And if not, then you should really reconsider doing this. Because you're doing this. Yeah.
And that, what you just said, is exactly what I've been teaching for 4 years. So it's perfect.
Yeah. So you're doing this to get more listings, more commissions, and just have a more controllable business, right? So for me on this side, let me grab it real quick.
No problem.
The first thing is, where do you pull these at? So I think pulling them are important. So Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook, or Marketplace, the Penny Saver publications, a lot of those, I mean, are going to be great resources for pulling those for sell by owners. RedX, Land Voice, Vulcan 7 all have a good amount on that end as well. I think the biggest part to calling for sell by owners is the best day of the week to call for sell by owner is Monday. By far. Because on Monday, guess what happened? The weekend came and gone. They didn't get an offer. They didn't have all the showings. And your first phone call is, hey, Brandon, just wanted to check in with you. The real estate market this past weekend was on fire. I don't think I've ever had so many showings on my properties. I'm getting offers left and right. Just curious, how many showings did you end up getting this weekend?
Boom!
Even if they got 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, it's still not going to be enough. So then what you need to tell them is, actually, one thing you might not know is in the last 7 days, this many properties went under contract in our market. And then you can build up to an appointment. And, man, if they sense that confidence coming off of you, they start just having more self-doubt. Doubting, man, am I doing everything I should be doing? Am I doing anything as far as exposure? Obviously, what I'm doing is not working. So on that end of it, I think that that's the best time to do it. Now, homework that I would be doing is, I think you should watch 1 YouTube video a day on for sell by owners. People prospecting for sell by owners to try to get some ideas. I think you do that either at 5 a.m. or you do it at like 10 p.m. at night. You got to do this homework as a side hustle, because you can't do it during generating hours. But you got to be watching YouTube. You got to commit to practicing the scripts with somebody, getting role play partners. You got to commit to a certain amount of contacts for sell by owners, a certain amount of appointments, a certain amount of listings on that side. Second, you got to commit to taking the tour. And then you got to meet them face to face. You got to establish rapport. You got to put yourself in position to win. Demonstrate you're the right person for the job on that side. And on my end, one thing I try to gauge is the 80-20 principle, where I'm asking questions 80% of the time and I'm only speaking 20% of the time.
Big one.
So, all about questions. Ask.
Now here's a hard thing. So everything you just outlined it's almost identical to what we've been teaching our students here, which is great.
Yeah.
The challenge for our students, Kevin, is showing that confidence and asking for the business, because the seller's in pain. They have a problem. They've got to get their property sold. How would you coach the agents on this call to get past that fear of just posing you as the solution and asking for that appointment?
Man, I tell you, the $1 million question. It's always, you want to get great rapport, get all the questions you have answered. And at the end of you asking questions, and when you feel like there's nothing else you can say, you say, have you heard enough information to make a decision to list your property with me today? And if they say no, what other information can I provide you with then? What other thing can I provide? What other information can we go over right now so you can feel comfortable to move forward? And then you're going to hear the objection, or they're going to say, well, you really didn't talk about pricing too much, or you really didn't tell me how your commission structure worked, or you really didn't talk to me about marketing. But most of the time, man, they're just going to say yes. And then all you got to do is break out the paperwork and shut your mouth and get it signed and walk out the door. So much of the time, the people are ready to sign. You just keep talking, and eventually you probably talk your way out of it.
Yeah. What about when you're on the phone? So you're doing your Monday follow-up calls, is what I teach. And, these guys are really good at going on preview appointments or getting out there. They're doing 20 preview appointments. This is what I teach. Yep. Of the 20 preview appointments, they should be able to list 8 through the Monday follow-up phone call. Yep. Where they have trouble is converting the follow-up phone call into a listing opportunity over the telephone. So as you're following up with FSBOs on the Monday call, how are you converting that Monday follow-up call into a listing appointment?
Yeah, I think I'm purposely making them doubt what they're doing. So for me, it's saying, oh, great, yeah, the market was this, market was that. Just curious how many showings you have. Just curious, how many calls were you even getting over the weekend? And besides Zillow or besides whatever you saw them on, where else are you marketing the property?
Can we role play that call? Can we role play that call? For sure.
Yeah.
The FSBO, go ahead.
Ring.
Hello, this is Brandon.
Hey, Brandon, it's Kevin Mills again with Century 21. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, man. I'm sure that you're busy as can be over there. I know the real estate market this past week has been on fire in your area. I'm taking a look right now. 34 houses went under contract in the last week. Just curious, were you able to get yours sold over the weekend?
No, we were not.
No. Got some hot prospects that are thinking of writing offers, or kind of what's going on with it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple people who come through, but that's, nothing, no offers at this point.
Okay. Yeah. And were you screening those people before they came in? Did you make sure they were qualified and have proof of funds and intent to purchase and could afford the property, or you just letting anybody in the house right now?
Yeah, we don't, I guess, yeah, we don't have a real system for that, I guess.
Yeah, no. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Realistically, I mean, the more eyes, the better, right? So I didn't know if you were taking that approach. I'm just curious. I mean, besides Zillow, Brandon, where else are you marketing this property?
We've got the sign, and, we're doing open houses at this point.
Yeah. Are you getting any traffic through the open houses when you hold them? I know that those aren't really scheduled.
No, I mean, we're getting a couple people here and there.
I tell you, on my end through open houses, I have this complete domination plan that I use on my end for my clients to make sure that when we do hold an open house, if that's something that you want us to do, we hold them extremely successfully. So on this side, we have open houses that get tons of qualified buyers through the property. We make sure that we're vetting them when they come in as well, take their information so we know that they're qualified people. Just curious, I mean, how many showings have you had in the past week?
I mean, probably one.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is in that typical area, I was just looking through the stats. In that typical area this week, you've seen between 7 and 11 properties, or 7 and 11 showings per property in that area. So I was just wondering kind of how you stuck, or how you compared to that. Just curious. I mean, the house is really nice, Brandon. I'm curious. I mean, what feedback did you get from that one person?
I mean, not a whole lot. I mean, they came through, and that was really, I mean, we haven't heard back yet.
Yeah. And I mean, how long have you been trying to get this sold now?
We've only been trying for about 2-3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, and you have it priced at $250,000, right? I mean, how'd you come up with that price?
I mean, we looked at what's selling in the area and felt that what our house has, and I guess do you have a buyer for our house?
Yeah, I might. I mean, I'm just wondering, in the event that you decided to hire an agent like myself, and I applied some aggressive marketing strategies to the property, I mean, would it be okay if we got the property sold in the first 2 or 3 weeks?
Well, sure, of course.
Okay. Now, I know you're working hard to sell this on your own, but I mean, it sounds like you might be open to start considering agents. Am I starting to hear that in your voice, that it's something you might even just consider a conversation? I'm not saying that you're definitely listing the property today, but would you consider hiring a real estate agent and right now in the market?
I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but certainly, yeah, if we can't get this thing sold in the next couple of weeks, we'd be open to something, I think.
I got you. And what would you want in the agent that you chose?
I mean, obviously, we want someone who can get the property sold. And I mean, that's really the main thing at this point.
I got you. So if you met a real estate agent and they completely convinced you that they were the agent that could get this property sold, you were confident in their approach, they took all kind of the burden of having to show the property and qualify the people and do the photos and the videos and the marketing and the exposure kind of off your plate, then you would be willing to move forward with them if they hit that one box.
Yeah, I think we'd be open to that.
Okay, well, I'd say this, Brandon, and again, I'm not trying to impose on you, but what I want to do is come over and share some good information. I love to share with you what I'm doing to sell properties. I love to go through exactly what I think buyers love about your house, what they might not like, what might be holding it back from selling, and really take you through what I'm doing. If nothing else, maybe you get some tips on some things you want to try doing before you hire an agent. But I think when we meet together in person, that you're really going to like what I'm saying. It sounds like we would work really well together, and I think I can help you get you some good information so you can get down to Florida.
Yeah. So there you go. You guys, I mean, that's perfect, Kevin. That's good.
Yeah.
And you'd set the appointment. The reality is I keep asking you to do the role plays because there is no magic words.
Yeah.
It's literally having a conversation. We're asking questions about their motivation. And then when we hear an opportunity, it's as simple as saying, Kevin, let me ask you, I mean, at the end of the day, if I could help show you how to get the property sold and net you the money that you need in your pocket, would you consider looking at that? And it's real simple. You just got to ask.
Yeah. No confrontation is a big
part.
No
confrontation.
Never have any. If you're going to have some confrontation with this guy, if you were completely different and you were short, and you have confrontation in person. Don't ever have it on the phone. Let them win that battle because you're going to win the fucking war. I always say that. When you get there, you're going to win that war because they can't hang up on you. They have all the power when you're on the phone. But when you're in person, you can take control over that conversation.
A face-to-face appointment changes everything. You guys ever heard of that before? All right, so last 2 questions for you, Kevin. 1, what percentage of the time do you go to a listing appointment, get the contract signed on the spot versus having to go back a second time?
100%.
100%.
Yeah, it's crazy. I either get the listing or I don't get the listing for me. Now, there are times, I guess, where I didn't get it signed. They wanted to think on it, and they call me back, and they're like, all right, just send it through e-sign. Because that's how I leave it, is saying, I'm not going back out there again. I don't give a shit what it is. So, I mean, I would say if I left there and they need to think about it, I would always go through, okay, well, what is there to think about? Because typically when you have something to think about, I didn't cover something fully. I make a lot of these presentations. Maybe I left something out. Let's talk about this. What is there to think on? And then I'll go through that objection and then try to get them signed. If they end up not signing, I'll say, listen, here's what we can do. You can take your time, and I think I'm not trying to pressure you at all, but when you are ready, I'm going to call you first thing tomorrow morning. Hopefully you might have some questions for me then. If you decide to move forward, my assistant's going to shoot you over the marketing docs. We just need e-sign. All you have to do is click to sign those, and we're good to go. And usually they're fine with that.
And it's just all confidence. And so I have one other question besides this one, because the myth, Kevin, is certainly for you to list as many homes as you're doing for sale by owners expireds, you must be discounting your commission almost every single time.
Yeah, I never discount my commission. Now, it happens if, let's just say that you never discount your commission from the start. So let's just say it. Go ahead, role play it. Tell me you want me to cut my commission.
Yeah, Kevin, listen, I mean, we like you a lot, but at this point, 6% is a lot. I mean, can you do anything better?
Yeah, Brandon, and I can appreciate you asking that. Obviously, I know that it takes some guts asking me that on this side, and I think that again, we'd work really well together. Now, when you ask me that on this side, Brandon, I have to ask myself, which one of my services can I afford to cut out of the marketing of your property? Because if I'm cutting my commission, I have to cut some of my services. And I'm taking a look at professional photos and videos and what we're doing behind the marketing of the property and how we're pre-screening buyers. And our courier is going to do all the lot box, and our closing coordinator who takes care of the closing side, and how we're following up on home inspections and appraisals. I don't see anything here, Brandon, that we can cut out and still sell your property and get you the amount of money that you need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, is there anything in there that you would want me to cut out? I would even take that approach. Is there anything in there that you would want me to cut out?
Nope.
Then great. Let's just move forward. And let's just say there's some more hesitation, or there's some more, they're angrier.
Well, Bob down the street at Remax, he said he'd do it for, I got agents in here doing it 4%, 4.5%. You're in 6%.
Listen, and that's an option. There's some agents out there that will do it for 4.5% or 5%. But one thing I want to do, I don't want to cut any corners on you, Brandon. The price that we're trying to get isn't a giveaway price. We're trying to maximize your sales price here. You care about how much money you put in your pocket at the end of the day, right? You don't care about how much commission you really pay out. It's about how much money you're putting in your pocket. So I'm confident my strategy is going to put that money in your pocket. So that's why I think that we move forward at the commission that I'm charging right now with you, and I'm confident that I can help you put that money in your pocket. It's just keeping on going back to that. You never make them wrong, but you make them have to think about, oh, he's right. Well, what is Bob? Do you think Bob's doing the same things I'm doing to market properties?
Right.
Or, I mean, you can just start turning this around. Again, you never want to make them wrong, but if it goes real far and they're not budging, they're saying, Kevin, listen, I appreciate everything you're saying, but I'm just going to be very transparent. I will not sign this listing commission for anything under 5 or anything over 5%. I say, Brandon, listen, I can appreciate that. Again, I think we'll work really well together. But one thing that I'm committed to is getting you the most amount of money. So me cutting my commission at the very start isn't going to get us any closer to that, because I still don't have any buyers for the property. So let's do this. Let me go out there. Let me market it. Let me get buyers in the property. Let me get you some offers. And once we have those offers, if we're off by $1,000 or 0.5% or 1%, let's reevaluate this conversation. And trust me, I will make this smart business move. But from the start, don't make me scale back on what I offer before we even have a buyer on the table.
It's phenomenal. What I keep hearing, Kevin, and the reason why you list 200, 300 houses a year, is simply my biggest takeaway so far is confidence. You're not backing down because you know you can get the job done, where most agents are so timid. Will you cut your commission? Absolutely. How low do I need to go?
Right.
And that is not what we're talking about today.